This year, Notting Hill Carnival's 50th anniversary saw more than 1 million people attend the event. And while most go to enjoy the music and culture, with massive numbers comes a big commitment for the police. New figures show that this year's anniversary event cost almost £8 million to provide policing support. It used almost a third of the Metropolitan Police's resources, with 40,000 officer shifts in different positions across the carnival, the largest operation of its kind in Western Europe. There were also a record number of arrests, 450 over 2 days, with 43 officers injured. Following this year's carnival, the Met called for a review into how the event was run. Today at City Hall, the London Assembly's Police and Crime Committee questioned the officer in charge of policing Carnival. He said the scale of the carnival and the increased violence year on year presented a challenge for officers.
You've got massive numbers of people, so it would be a challenge, and we prepare and practice for that, both multi-agency and individually, to put plans in place to do that. But it would be foolish of me not to say that if we had that catastrophic incident or a major incident in the middle of the event, it will be extremely challenging to deal with.
Carnival organisers say that while there are outbreaks of crime, the popularity of the event mean that it's an expected part of the weekend.
Average, comparing it with something like the crime with New Year's Eve, and I looked at it and we're about the same on percentage, except that we have more people. So, to be quite honest with you, no level of crime is acceptable, but when you have that number of people and Carnival, you would have a certain amount of crime.
The Police and Crime Committee said today that the carnival could provide more stewarding to help pressures on the police, and that there should be more thorough organisation to avoid the possibility of crime and better manage crowd control.
The police will be quite rightly concentrating on serious violence, and potentially the lower level violence isn't getting reported and addressed, and that's going to reflect on the numbers. And I think the real issue was the level of real serious violence, and we heard this morning that we were very close, tragically, to 2 or 3 fatalities if it wasn't for the intervention of police officers.
While Scotland Yard are already planning for next year's event, organisers of the carnival have been granted a request for an extra £190,000 for stewarding costs. But with the Metropolitan Police Federation saying officers dread working the carnival every year, the investigation into how to make the event safer is set to continue.